Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is John, and this is Addicted to Fishing. Uh, Sorry it's been a minute, but I have been moving and taking care of some things. But today we're going to talk about one of my favorite things to do this time of the year, and that's swim bait fishing. Today we're going to talk about the smaller profile type swim baits, not the big baits. These are more like paddle tails or hollow bodies, things of that nature. Got a few baits laid out, literally 1, 2, maybe 6 baits, and probably 5 or 6 different ways to rig them. We'll start out with the baits, then we'll go to different heads, different ways that we can modify or things along that lines. So let's start out in no particular order. One of the mainstay staples, this happens to be the 4.5 and what they call Sight Flash. Depending on how you pronounce it, either Keitech or Kitech. This is this Fat Swing Impact. And guys, this guy has a ton of kick in the back. You can see how soft that bait is. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this bait. Great bait this time of the year. If you're around bigger bait fish, you definitely want this size. If not, you can downsize that. This one I got kind of modified for the head that it's on, but you can go all the way down to like a 2.5. This time of year for me, it's a lot of these downsized profiles. I don't have one out. Again, something you guys might be familiar with is the Megabass Spark Shad. This is a real good lifelike imitator. Great little paddle tail swim bait. You can see how soft that bait is. Gets a lot of action. That color there happens to be silver shad, so it matches my shad in the lake really, really well. On that Keitech line, this is called a little less aggressive as far as the tail kick. This is their Easy Shiner. Highly overlooked bait, in my opinion. A lot of guys aren't picking that one up and being key on that. The Reaction Innovations Little Dipper. I'm not gonna pull every one of these out. This one and the Net Bait Little Spanky all kind of resemble each other. Does a great job. Gets bit, gets the job done. And last on my list, well, I got 2 more. On that Megabass line too, you got the Hazedong Shad. Great little bait profile. And then last but not least on this profile, if you're looking for something really durable, this is not my favorite color of this bait. But that kind of muddy to stained water, this bait tends to show up really well. And this is the Z-Man Elastec Diesel Minnow. I do like the Diesel Minnow because if you're going to weedless rig it, it does have a nice belly slot, and it also has a nice slot in the back to kind of hold that, keep that hook, but it's that elastomer material. So you're going to catch quite a few fish on that. Yeah, those are pretty much the baits that I'm going to go to this time of the year. If I'm looking for something a little bit more rigid, this is a Strike King bait. Again, it's got that slot for your hook, but this is definitely a lot more rigid, so you're going to get a lot more tighter action out of it. I do use that one, not quite as often as the others, and that one's definitely in a dark color that I use in that muddy water. But yeah, guys, those are pretty much my go-to baits. I'm going to save my favorite, right now, what my top favorite head is for last. We can start out with the Megabass Okashira head. It comes two different ways. Let me get these out there. The regular head, and then a screw head. And I make these myself, so I've got videos out there on how you can make an Okashira screw head. Let's see if I've got one handy here. I do not have one handy, unfortunately. But there are videos on my channel here to show you how to do those. Little VMC head. If you're around a lot of rock, a ball head jig tends to work really, really well. So you can just grab your favorite little ball head jig and tie it on. Let's see, what else do we have in a regular swim bait head? The Megabass Body Balance. This is for the bigger baits and not fishing deep, but these guys really work well. And one of the things I like about this head, and I have the swim bait mold to pour these myself, which mine look like this, a bad paint job. You can see it's the same exact thing, except for the Megabass, the keeper is on the bottom, the Do It mold, it's on the top. But the thing I like about these is you can get that sitting down on the bottom and really drag that across the bottom with that keel. Again, it's a big head. I'm not going to go into the big heads, different things. You know, there's 100 different types of jig heads out there, guys, you can pick up. Now, for some, well, we'll go ahead and cover it now. Right now, my favorite go-to swim bait hook / head is the Core Tackle Tush. And the Tush is for the ultimate swim bait head. One of the things that's really pushing me to that Tush and keeping me, I'm going to use this one here to kind of show you how you rig this and how you work it in case you're not familiar with it. And I've seen some people go in the back with it, but it's meant to go right in the head. You just put it in the head, come down where you know it's going to come out, and you got to thread that dude all the way up that head. Usually by the time I start to thread it, I'll dip it in water. I don't want to have this one rigged up, but it'll end up looking like this. That weight will be all in there. One of the key things that I found with this, the Core Tackle Tush, that's really, really steering me to make it my favorite. One, you get that weight more center balanced, and what that's doing, and I've thrown a few different baits with it, is when that bait's coming through the water, you're getting a lot of this side-to-side rocking motion. Even with, a nice tail in the back kicking, you're getting that double action. And when you get secondary motion, especially on a little swim bait, and you're not just slow rolling it, and the fish don't really get a chance to really detail pick it out, it's got a lot of great action, and it gets bit. I've been catching most of my fish on the Ultimate Swim Bait head. I've thrown it on a few other, I might pick up, the VMC head, put it on there, toss it out. Now, granted, you're going to get all that kicking motion out of these swim baits in the back, but you're not getting a lot of that body roll. When you use that Ultimate Swim Bait head, the Tush, you're getting a lot of that rocking back and forth, so you're getting a lot of secondary motion out of it. Guys, if you're looking for some alternates to what you can do other than just the standard, and this is that VMC head with a 4.5 Kitech on it. You can rig it up this way. You can rig it up on this is more of that traditional ball head. This is a VMC head as well. But the things that I'm liking to do, and I make some of these myself too, is I like to use that Z-Man Flashback Mini. So you get that chatterbait. So you're getting a secondary motion out of it. And I make some of those myself. This is that little VMC. I think they call this the boxer head. And then what I do is I just make a slight break in the hook eye, slide the blade on, and then bend the hook eye back. You don't have to make much of a move on that. I think I have in a modification video, I have some details on that. Another one that I'm starting to really like a lot is that Z-Man Willow Vibe. And I happen to have a package right here. They sell them in a 2-pack. And it's listed as the original chatterbait. It's a rapid vibration bladed jig head. So with Z-Man coming out with some of these naked chatterbaits, it kind of lets you customize it. I used to just rip the skirts off of the regular chatterbait, and then tie one of these suckers on and use them that way. Now I really don't have to do that. So I really like that. I like being able to do some modifications. The other thing that's good to use a swim bait with is an underspin. This one just happens to be that little herring head from Do It mold with a nice bright chartreuse blade on it. But you can pair that up with any of your regular little swim baits. This bait's a little too big for that underspin. But again, guys, it's a little modification, a little something extra you can do with it. But anyway, guys, that's really about all I have to say about swim bait fishing. Depending on the head, depending on the size bait, I'm either going to throw that on a spinning rod for the really finesse stuff. For the heavier stuff, I'm going to throw it on my bait caster. That tush in 1/8 and 1/4 ounce, or a quarter. I think it's 1/4 and 3/8 of an ounce. I am throwing it on my on a bait caster rod. I got 14-pound mono, and on my spinning rod, I have I think it's just regular 6-pound mono on that. It's a medium light action rod. I can really whip these little baits out there. Key here with this one, while I'm thinking about it, if you do modify and go to this Flashback Mini and you want to use like a Kitech on the back, you could cut that boot off the back, or you can find yourself any of those little pintail minnows. Let me see if I've got one quick and handy here, guys. Yeah, we can just use this little live target. Use these little live target with those little straight tails on the back. Those work really well on either my homemade version or the little Flashback Mini. I've got quite a few of these little Flashback Minis. The Flashback Mini does come with, when you buy it, there's 2 per pack. It'll come with this curly tail, and then it will come with like a straight tail, little fork tail on the back. But keep in mind, this is not a Lastech. The only drawback that I have when you use these little flashbacks is there's no keeper. And that's why I've started making my own on a jig head that already has a keeper. And that helps me out because these guys, you even just cast it a few times in current, that bait's just going to really easily slide off. So anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed that video. Oh, I can give you one more quick tip on this. Let me pull out. I already got this guy out. Let me pull out kind of a big head here. So one of the things you can do to kind of help yourself out, and you got to make sure you're rigging it right. For one, you want this to be the top so that your tail's looking like this. But instead of rigging it directly down the center, if you kind of come up towards the top a little more and start rigging that, one of the things that's going to happen with that, and you can't see it here with this head, you can there with the hook. I hope you can see that the hook is more towards the top. It's just like with the strolling baits, when you kind of offset that weight and put it more towards the top, you are going to get a little bit of body roll out of it, and you get a little bit of different action. Each one of these baits takes on their own little action, so you gotta kind of have to play around with them, just like you do with the little minnow style baits when you're trying to hover stroll, mid stroll, whatever you want to call yourself doing on that. But yeah, you can just kind of modify that, and where you're putting the hook through on the plastic, and you get a little bit of different action. Anyway, guys, this is the time of the year, fall, to be out throwing these little swim baits. Match your hatch in your local lake, and have fun. Tight lines. We'll see you in the next one.